You don't know these streets like we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Street is Watching. This is not my editorial. This is for the culture. And Charlie, this session, it be very, very, very crucial session. And I really wish all one of viewers would just tap cool, then watch through. I'm being joined in the studio by my big boss, my big brother, Jonathan Amable, and he is a lawyer representing Glenn in the case of Kwesi versus Glenn, or Kwesi versus Ground Up. Chairman, welcome to our studios.
Thank you. You said it well.
Everything cool?
Everything cool. It's both Glenn and Kwesi. Yes.
Nice. So you used to work with Kwesi as well?
Well, I mean, I used to work for the label. I work for the label.
Okay.
So I've been working together with them for a couple of years. So if there's a legal requirement, Kwesi will not know which lawyer is working on it for him, but that lawyer will typically be me. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you've worked with Ground Up for how many years? How many months or how many years have you been with Ground Up?
Maybe 6 years.
6 years thereabouts.
5 years, yeah.
Wow. And then I believe you are the best person to talk about this issue.
You know me. You know me from not even Ground Up.
I know you from one
other
side.
sides, yeah, because we do a bit of broad legal work, but including entertainment. So
Yes.
Ground Up is one of the entertainment clients that we have, and yes, as you said at the beginning, it's all for the culture, right?
It is all for the culture. So I want to understand.
Industry.
Yeah, I want to understand certain things with respect to the ongoing case between Ground Up and Kwesi. There are so many things running online. There's a lot of information running out there, and we want clarification to that. So after letting us know your position at Ground Up, what is your client's position, as in Ground Up position, with respect to all that is happening online right now?
Right. Thank you. I mean, what is going on is there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, fueled by the posts that Kwesi made. And the posts are quite frankly defamatory.
Okay.
They've set Ground Up and Glenn up for public lashing. And you can see that they are being mauled in the public square currently. You know, there's no good thing that you can say. I saw some of the posts that you did on your X before now about, you know, any people waiting to hear Glenn's side and the kind of comments that the kind of comments I was saying. You know, it's sad because it's like this is the mob behavior, right? It's how you just get up and lynch people, mob people without knowing what the facts are. As lawyers, we say something, even in the Garden of Eden, Jesus or God, who knows everything and who sees everything, he knew that they had eaten of the forbidden fruit, but he didn't come and immediately start castigating them. He came and asked, what have you done? And Adam said, it is the woman. And he asked the woman, and the woman spoke. So whenever a matter comes, it's always good to, you know, pause, take your time, listen to all sides. And in this matter, I've seen people who are media professionals, you know, people who, by the ethics of their profession, are obliged to reach out to another side, hear the other side before they make commentary or make statements on it, already passing judgment and already republishing the thing. And as I've told you, the statements that have been made, they are defamatory. And in defamation, we say that every repetition is a republication. So the moment you repeat the defamatory statement, you have owned it.
Okay.
And you make yourself also liable
to be
in
sued.
Law to be sued for defamation.
Now, before we go on, let me read what he put out there, so that we can break it down and know some of the things that he is alleging. Now, in the post on X by Kwesi, it reads, "If anything happens to me, Glenn Boateng and all team members of Ground Up Charlie are responsible and should be held responsible. I am currently being asked to pay $150,000 for using images of myself in caps for this current project. Ground Up claims to own me, my image, my music, and everything attached to it from 2016 to this day. Although I have not worked or had any affiliation to the company since Son of Jacob, I have not made a dime from any of my music within the period I worked with them for years now, and received constant threats and manipulation from Glenn, who is living off my money and hard work. If for whatever reason this project that I'm trying to give my fans independently gets taken down, no Glenn is responsible. He is working constantly around the clock for me to never put out music again. I've tried not to say anything for a long time, though this has affected my well-being and mental health greatly. But for the safety of myself and my family, I choose to publicly share the truth. Signed by Kwesi on X.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It's a very loaded statement. And
very, very loaded.
I wish that we can even take it
bit by bit. So the first claim in there is that
he says if anything
happens to him, Glenn is responsible.
This is imputation of criminality. You are trying to portray the person to be a violent person who has a potential to harm you. And in all the conversations that I've been privy to, and I've been privy to a lot of the conversations, and Glenn has authorized me to speak on some of these matters, because otherwise, for confidentiality reasons, we would not speak, and privilege reasons. There has never been any threat of violence.
Okay.
Everything has been calm. Everything has been legal. And there has been absolutely no bullying. Okay. As Kwesi rightly stated, he stopped working with Glenn in 2022.
Okay.
After the release of the Son of Jacob album.
After the release of Son of Jacob.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, between that time and now, Kwesi has put out product.
Yes.
Kwesi has Sorry for the Tape or Sorry for the Wait, which was released 2024 or something. Yeah. He has things that he's put out. In none of these situations was there a situation where it was said that Glenn tried to stop him from putting out music.
Okay.
He's releasing singles. This is not the first time he's even put something out on Even.
This is the second time.
Yes. So obviously those are all palpable falsehoods. Now, the main thing, and I mean we can cut through to the chase, the main reason why we are here is that in promoting this current project, he used video footage and images that were commissioned by Ground Up in their previous history.
Okay.
Videos and images that were commissioned by Ground Up. And
they are like images and videos and all that is paid for, financed by Ground Up.
Exactly. So these are commissioned works. Okay, that Ground Up holds. Okay. Now, even if you are in those images, it does not entitle you to exploit those images commercially to promote your album. Okay. But he did that. And not only did he do that, he incorporated some of these existing images that were, from the period that they were working together into the album artwork. Now, when he did the promo rollout and the team noticed it at Ground Up, they consulted me. We wrote to him and we asked him to refrain from releasing those things because, or refrain from using it because these are materials that he does not own. Okay. And he needs to get a license or approval from Ground Up in order to use the materials.
Okay.
And he did nothing of the sort.
Okay.
And so the demand notice that went to him in relation to the continued exploitation of these materials had to do with not the fact that Ground Up claimed that they own him or Ground Up claimed that they own his image, because these are all falsehoods. Ground Up has never made such statements. Ground Up has never told him, you can't take a video and put it in front of you and record videos of yourself. It has never been said anywhere, and I would challenge him to bring out any evidence he has in proof of these statements that he's making, that Ground Up claims they own him, or Ground Up claims they own his image, or they own his name. There have never been any such assertions.
Wow.
This has only come up specifically on this project because of the material that he was using. Okay. And he was asked not to use it without permission. He went ahead and used it. He didn't even respond to the email.
So you guys actually reached out to him to tell him that refrain from using it.
Exactly.
Stop using these ones because these were commissioned by us. Okay.
And intellectual property is a funny thing. Those images relate to a certain period in history.
Yes.
The time when he was on the come up.
Yes.
And they evoke certain positive feelings in people.
Yes.
People will see it and they resonate.
Yes.
And that gives the material more trajectory. It pushes it further. It enables it to go further. So when these things occur, you are exploiting that feeling
for your
personal benefit.
Meanwhile, the label is not going to gain anything out of a product that they produced.
Exactly. So the point is, the label is not averse to you using it, but you can use it subject to conversation. And this happens all the time. Even he himself is a creative.
Yes.
He would know that if I have put out something, before somebody would use it,
yes,
the person
just seek my approval
just
and then
come and get the clearance. So that was the real issue. He ignored it. I mean, I forwarded these things to you, the emails to you, and I'll be very glad if you can show these emails to your viewers, so that your viewers can really understand. When you look at the language that was used, very temperate language, very measured language, reasonable claims, which is that these things are commissioned works. You can't use them without us. He ignored the emails on 2 occasions, and the label wrote to Even, who are the entities monetizing the project.
Yes.
And I'm sure Even reached out to him.
Okay.
And that is what led to this outburst.
Okay.
Where he says, if the project is taken down, know that it was ground up or it was Glenn was responsible. But you should know that these entities, they take such intellectual property matters very seriously. They would definitely have a problem if somebody's intellectual property is being unlawfully exploited and they are monetizing that content. And so this was just a very simple thing that if he had done his own content and used for the rollout or used for the album artwork, there wouldn't have been any problem at all. Is this really something that somebody can elevate into a claim that Ground Up says they own me or they own my image? No such statement has been made.
I would like to read the email to Even from Ground Up.
Sure.
And it's dated on the 21st of January 2026. It reads, Dear Even Legal / rights team, we are writing to formally notify you of rights dispute concerning visual artwork currently used in connection with a project released on Even by Kwesi. Ground Up Charlie owns or controls multiple visual artwork assets incorporated into the project's presentation and promotional materials, including commissioned photographic images originally created for prior album campaigns and official promotional use. These works were produced at Ground Up Charlie's instruction and expense and were licensed only for specific limited uses. No license or clearance has been granted for the reuse of these artwork assets in connection with this Even release or its associated marketing. As such, their inclusion raises an unresolved third-party rights issue. We are notifying Even so that this matter can be reviewed internally in light of the representations made to your platform regarding rights clearance. At this stage, we are not requesting adjudication, but we are placing Even on notice to avoid continued monetization of disputed visual assets while the issue is addressed. We are available to provide assets references and supporting documentation if required. Kind regards, Glenn, Ground Up Charlie.
Yeah, so you see, look at the language that is used.
Yes.
It's Even as being asked to keep the matter as an internal matter.
Yes.
Because conversations are going on to address this.
Yes.
I don't know how this can be elevated. And I mean, if you notice the date of that email,
yes,
that email was sent on the 21st of January.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, look at, for instance, the dates of our emails of Glenn's emails to Kwesi.
There's one dated on the 9th of January. That talks about Kwesi, the claims on the visual
exactly.
assets. Yes.
And then there's another dated on the 14th.
Yes, on the 14th.
The 14th says, Dear Kwesi, despite our notice dated Friday 9th, the unlicensed imagery referenced continues to be used in further promotional posts published on Saturday 10th. This constitutes unauthorized commercial use after notice. Unless we hear from you within 24 hours, we will proceed to protect our rights through the appropriate channels without further correspondence. So in which part of this correspondence can you say that somebody is threatening you, somebody's bullying you, somebody's saying that they own you, or somebody's saying that they own your image or they own your name. Which part of this do you see that? The email is very specific that there's unlicensed imagery being used.
Yes.
And that's at the crux of this particular matter that they're facing.
Unlicensed images
and videos.
Wow. Oh, anyway, I think we've explained that side. Now, the part that he's saying that I'm currently being asked to pay $150,000 for using images of myself for this current project. What is behind that?
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. That is an attempt to blur the issue.
Okay.
I mean, everybody watching this should be credited with some reasonable level of understanding of what the law is.
Yes.
And having read the emails that I've showed to you, no part of this statement says that you cannot use images of yourself. The issue is there is imagery that are unlicensed, that are being used by you.
Okay.
Don't use it.
Okay.
You can't debase the issue simply into a matter of these are images of myself. That's not how it's done. You copyright is copyright. You can't say that, oh, because I'm the one in the picture, I can use it and commercially exploit it any way I want.
I think I saw one issue. There was one issue online where one superstar claimed that a photographer took a picture of him, and then he saw it online. He took it and posted it, and now they are suing him.
Yes, you will buy it back.
Your own image.
You will buy it back because that's the way it works.
That's how it works. Yeah.
We shouldn't have, we shouldn't have conversations on a level where it looks like there's no understanding of law and business in Ghana.
Yeah.
Because these are the very attitudes that drive away the investors that we seek in the industry.
True.
An investor will invest because these are some of the ways that they can generate money to pay off their investment. And investors are not charity organizations. They're not there just to be able to barely break even or there to break even.
Yeah.
They are there to do business. They support you. But at the end of the day, there has to be returns.
Yes.
And look, we must simply break the thing down.
Yeah.
This is economics 101. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, enterprise. And what are the rewards? Land, you get your rent.
Yes.
Labor, you get your wages. Capital, you get interest. Enterprise is the person who bears the economic risk to bring all of these together.
Yes. And he's supposed to make profit.
He is supposed to make profit.
Yes.
It's economics 101.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of ideals or utopian world people want us to live in, but we have to be realistic.
Yes.
Now, that for me is a segue into another critical issue in the statement where Kwesi talks about, I have not received a dime.
Yes.
We've just talked about the factors of production.
Yes.
In the civilized world, what you do is that you enter into contracts which document how the factors of production will be allocated, how the profits will be allocated.
Yes.
Kwesi entered into a contract with Ground Up Charlie in 2017. It was a 4-year contract.
Okay.
It was renewable for 2 years.
Okay.
After the end of the 4 years.
Okay.
That 4 years ended in 2021.
Okay.
Now, mind you, the agreement with Platoon, who were the distributors for Son of Jacob, which was the last work that was put out, was signed in 2020.
Okay.
So the renewal kicked in, and the team kept working throughout the renewal period. And that is how come Son of Jacob came out in 2022. As at 2022, I was here. I was still working on clearances for the project.
Yes.
As
it had a lot of features.
Yes. Yeah. They were still working on clearances for the project. Clearances from the UK, clearances from Nigeria. As at 2022, we had a copyright strike on winning. Nobody knows this.
Okay.
We had a copyright strike on winning.
Yes.
We had to enter into a settlement arrangement with the people.
Okay. Because that song was also used as a Madden.
Yes, so that came subsequently. Okay. And so everybody was roped in. So as at 2022, and this is why I tell you that I will be doing work which is for the benefit of Kwesi, but obviously there needs to be a machine that powers artists. And this is sometimes are the tensions because artists are the talent. They may not necessarily know all about what's happening on the business side to promote the business aspect of the work. But whilst we are there working on clearance, do you think I work for free?
No, you're also being paid.
Yes. I cannot work for free. So in that same manner, obviously, costs are being incurred.
Yes.
You understand? So that contract was 2017, renewable for 2 years.
Yes.
Now, under the contract, the first version of it,
yes,
it was essentially Ground Up owns the product, but there's a revenue split.
Okay.
So the revenue split was 60-40
Okay.
in favor of Ground Up.
Okay. Ground Up owns the product.
Ground Up owns the product.
All the assets are
Yes.
for Ground Up.
Yes.
That includes images,
Yes.
likeness.
Not images as in, that includes the images that are produced, for instance, the pictures and things that are produced for
the
promotional content
pictures and all
those things. Yes.
So if Ground Up, if he enters studio for Ground Up, we then take a picture for album cover or for, let's say, some social media trend or for whatever purpose, those assets belong to
Those
Ground Up.
assets belong to Ground Up.
Okay.
Now, if the assets are monetized,
Yes.
then the revenue split kicks in.
Okay.
So the revenue split, Ground Up takes 60, Kwesi takes
Net
40.
or gross?
Net.
Net.
Yes.
Okay.
So definitely after the recoup, after expenses are recouped, Ground Up
Then
takes
there's
60.
there's a split 60-40
60-40
in favor of Ground Up.
in favor of Ground Up.
Okay.
So that was pre-2021.
Yes.
2021, when the agreement expired and was going to be renewed for the further 2 years, that split was changed to recognize, it was renegotiated to recognize Kwesi's heft in the industry, his status in the industry at the time. So it was renegotiated to be 50-50.
50-50.
Meaning that at the end of the day, net proceeds are distributed in a 50-50 arrangement.
And Kwesi signed that contract.
And Kwesi signed that contract.
Meaning he was interested and he gave approval.
I mean, I saw on your X, or I think it was your X, you must have pinned something, a post from Kwesi in 2020, praising Glenn.
Yes.
This was 2020.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In 2022, I saw Kwesi at the launch for Son of Jacob.
Yes.
There was no indication of, any issue at the time. You understand? So these were the arrangement. This is not these terms are not like Shylock, who would ask for an arm of flesh, a pound of flesh, and things like that. 60-40 is a fair arrangement, taking into consideration what we've discussed on enterprise and the economic risk.
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of people downplay what it is, but trust me, it takes a lot for an unknown talent to become a household name. Somebody has to take on that economic risk. Somebody has to invest in studios. Somebody has to invest in camera equipment. Somebody has to invest
the quality of production, everything.
In bringing, camera crew, professionals, and things. And some may complain, oh, we're underpaid, we're this. But at the end of the day, it's contractual.
Yes.
Do you know how I can only pay what I have in my pocket?
True.
And you can only accept what you agree to accept. So you cannot be heard now to be saying later on the day that, oh, when we were poorly paid or things like that. Because at the end of the day, you don't know how, at the time, these are just bootstrapping entrepreneurs.
But is it true that he never received a dime?
Yes. So, I mean, and that's what I'm coming to, because at the end of the day, the contractual terms were agreed to.
Yes.
Recoupments were made and payments were made. So it's rather shocking. It's rather shocking to see Kwesi say that I've never received a dime. And again, we don't just speak out of our mouths. We speak, evidence is the name of the game. I forwarded to you email chains.
Yes.
Okay. Email chains, including there's an email chain where you even see Kwesi sends an invoice and Glenn sends a link to the payment.
Yes.
And Kwesi says, I've received payment.
I confirm receipt. So this is a chain of emails. This one is dated on the 23rd of April, 2024. It says, hello, here is the invoice for the balance due me. Best regards. And Kwesi comes in saying, can you state the months that these are for?
Yeah, so that's Glenn. Glenn comes
in. Glenn wants to know, can you state the months that these are for? It's still on the 24th. This is the 23rd and the 24th.
Yeah.
And the 25th, Kwesi comes in saying, sure. And then have Glenn saying, payment link here. Kindly confirm receipt once received. Best regards, Glenn. And then Kwesi comes in and say, I confirm receipt. That means he was paid. There's a link for payment and he confirmed receipt on the 30th of April, 2024.
Yes. So, and I mean, just look at even the message above that.
Yes.
On the 23rd of May from Glenn.
Yes.
23rd of May, 2024, it says, Dear Kwesi, I hope this message finds you well. As detailed in the accounting report, all net proceeds from the commercial exploitation of the assets are distributed according to our contractually agreed ratios of 60-40 for assets created before 2020 and 50-50 for assets created from 2021 onwards.
Yeah.
To ensure greater transparency, we will provide accounting reports twice a year, detailing the amounts received from commercial exploitation of the assets and corresponding entitlements based on the agreed distribution ratios. Payments will be made to your designated account, provided the amounts received during the period exceed £1,000. Because Groundup is primarily a UK, it's a UK incorporated company. So the accounting is in pounds.
Okay.
So £1,000. You have the right to audit underlying streaming reports, sync and other IP licensing rights issued, invoices and other primary documents related to the exploitation and administration of the assets. Listen, in any intellectual property exploitation, the audit rights are the highest.
Okay.
And this is Glenn in an email emphasizing
that you still have the rights to go to
audit all these things. All payments will be made in accordance with the binding terms of our contract, which stipulates that Groundup owns all the financed assets, but shares net proceeds from their exploitation with you. The accounting report we have issued to you demonstrates that despite third-party financing during our collaboration, Groundup incurred significant expenditure in financing all listed assets. These assets include Son of Jacob and others, encompassing all rights from publishing to master recording and derived rights. As owners, we will exercise our commercial best efforts to exploit the assets for our mutual benefit, with net proceeds shared with you. As indicated, all historical expenditure has been recouped.
Okay.
We urge you to abide by our contractual terms and refrain from challenging our ownership rights or interfering with the administration of the assets. Specifically, this means refraining from activities such as reaching out to distributors to take down our assets, publicly or privately challenging our right to administer the assets, entering into direct negotiations regarding the sale or licensing of any rights to the assets, and spreading defamatory narratives that I have stolen your money. Our communication channels remain open for further clarification. I mean, Slim, what further do you want in a relationship between an artist and
the label?
Well, you are getting accounting reports. Your audit rights are being emphasized.
Yes.
You have been informed. Your accounting will also show you that you have recouped. Now, this last paragraph was because we were getting indications that Kwesi was reaching out to distributors to take down the work. Kwesi was going around claiming that he owns Son of Jacob.
Okay, so not all the works, but on Son of
Jacob.
Okay.
That he owns Son of Jacob. And in some of the other ones, even works prior to Son of Jacob, he was claiming
the singles leading to...
Yes, claiming ownership of them, trying to monetize them and things like that.
Okay.
And so that was why Glenn put out this message that please don't do this. This is the arrangement that we entered into. Let's stick to it. At the end of the day, we are distributing money. And Slim, that is not all. I mean, if you look at the other email that I forwarded to you, you see where Glenn talks about the fact that payments up to about 98,000 pounds has been distributed to Kwesi.
Yes.
And these were emails that were sent to Kwesi. Kwesi never denied this. I mean, if you look at that email, the email of 12 August 2025.
Yes.
This was an email that was sent because Kwesi was denying Glenn's ownership of Son of Jacob, or Groundup's ownership of Son of Jacob.
Okay.
But not just that. Kwesi had gone behind Groundup Charlie to the distributor to collect $118,000.
What?
$118,000 he collected on the basis of Son of Jacob. So the distributor basically put Son of Jacob in the red in their books. That means that till date, if Son of Jacob makes any streaming money, that money does not go to Ground Up Charlie. It doesn't go to Kwesi. It goes to the distributor for the distributor to recoup. And why is that? Because Kwesi has already taken $118,000
advance
on the project,
which was financed by Ground Up.
Yes, which was jointly financed by Ground Up and the distributor at the original time. Because remember, I told you the deal was signed in about 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
But there were all these running costs.
So if I'm clear on this, the distributor is a third party in this case.
Exactly.
And then it's a joint product between the distributor, Ground Up, and Kwesi.
Exactly.
And
Kwesi being under Ground Up.
Yes, with Kwesi being under Ground Up. And now Kwesi goes to the distributor and requests for an advance on that project.
Kwesi goes to the distributor and tells the distributor, my deal with Ground Up has ended. So Ground Up have no rights over the works. I own the works. Give me this money.
Wow.
And so that was not found out until accounting came from the distributor, and it was realized, but wait a minute, what are all these figures here? And then we saw that, no, these are huge amounts that have been paid out to Kwesi, which are separate from, we're looking at almost £100,000 that has been paid out.
Wow.
And that is confirmed here that you have not said anything about.
And Ground Up had no idea.
So
he did not engage you in any email.
No. At all. And so
but Ground Up is supposed to be the representative for Kwesi in a case like this.
Yes, but when the artist goes to the distributor and says, I no longer work for these guys, or I no longer work with these guys.
Okay.
My deal with them has ended, and what have you. In certain situations, those third parties may, based on those representations, start to deal with you directly.
Okay.
And that's what happened. So, if you look at that, Ground Up was at pains. You could read it. I wish you would really read that email.
I'll read that one, but I have this email dated on the 4th of August, 2025, where Glenn writes to Kwesi saying that, and detailing the amount of money Kwesi has benefited from working with Ground Up. That states over 91,370 pounds has been distributed to Kwesi as royalties. And I would like to read that one, parts of that one quickly. It says, hi Kwesi, I find this concerning as it completely ignores the reconciliation I sent to you in May regarding the unauthorized payment made to you by Platoon. Payments which Ground Up Charlie had no knowledge of or did not approve, and which have now created a recoupment burden. To date, you have benefited 91,370 pounds in royalty disbursement. A detailed breakdown of these disbursements has been previously provided. Despite these amounts, which have been lawfully allocated to you, you have solicited for and received an amount of 118,712.08 directly from Platoon without our prior consent, knowledge, or involvement. And you claim that this was realized when accounting was done, right?
Exactly.
I have provided a detailed accounting breakdown showing an updated balance of 84,830 pounds owed to Ground Up Charlie.
Yeah.
So this is as a result of the amount of money that he took from Platoon.
Yes.
So he owes you that percentage.
Yes, because remember that there's supposed to be a
recoupment from proceeds.
There's supposed to be recoupment, but after the recoupment, net proceeds are supposed to be distributed.
Shared. Okay.
So if you've gone and collected that amount and we have not benefited, or Ground Up has not benefited, then you have distorted that balance. And also remember that prior to this email, and it's funny because this email is 2025.
Yes.
Remember that we read the 2024 emails where Glenn and Ground Up said that all the historical expenses have been recouped.
Yes.
So basically, the account is in the green now, where
anything that comes, we can share.
We'll just be sharing.
Yes.
So don't go and interfere with the rights. Remember that email that we read from 20. So don't go and interfere with the rights. And this is 2025.
Yes.
Where by 2025, you realize that despite all those communication, the person has done the very same thing.
He went and took money and then put the accounting in the red.
Which has taken the accounting back into the red, which is therefore the reason why they say you owe this amount now as a result of that transaction you've done. And in all of this, what I would say, because like I keep saying, we are here for the benefit of the culture. We really just want the space to do. Kwesi is an artist that I like. He's a great artist, and I would have wished that all these things would not be happening. In most of the emails, if you read, you realize that Glenn will be encouraging Kwesi. I wish you would involve lawyers. Involve lawyers and let them explain the consequences of the actions that you are taking to you.
Yes.
I want us to sit down. I want us to meet with your father.
Yes.
Let's call your father in. Let's have a sit down. Yes. Because the actions that you are taking, they are very serious.
Yes.
And we need to have private conversations and resolve these amicably. They are in several of the emails there.
Yes. One email that is also dated in 2025 states that I followed up with you via email and WhatsApp directly since May. I also communicated with your father to help mediate the situation and arranged a meeting to discuss repayment, which you failed to attend. Meaning that he actually reached out to the father and decided, say, "Shall make we sit down and talk about this thing? Be anything. Boys, make we sit down." And then he failed to attend.
Yes. I will show you. Let me show you. I want you to just read this message. Just read this message, the top message from, and read the person that is coming from.
Okay. This one is from Samuel Danso Atta. That is Kwesi Atta's dad.
Yes.
And it says, "Good evening and thank you very much for your time and maturity. Hope to sit down again with you soon." Okay. So you had a conversation.
This was, yes. I was at that meeting.
Okay.
I was at that meeting and had this conversation with his father. And that evening after the meeting, his father sent this message and said, "Thank you for your time and your maturity. I hope to sit down again with you soon." Because he said he was going to speak to his son and try to bring us all around the table so that we sit down and discuss. Until date, that has never happened.
Wow. Anyway, let's get to other elements in the press that Kwesi Atta put out. So now we know that he has benefited from working with Ground Up.
Benefited significantly.
Okay. And we also know the reason for the $150,000 claim.
Yes. That was in respect of the copyright violations that were taking place with the unauthorized use of the imagery.
Yes. So you actually sent a cease and desist, and of which he ignored. He ignored.
Yes.
And then you proceeded to tell him that if you continue to do this, this is the amount of money that you have to pay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get this one clear. It is not that Ground Up's position is that pay us $150,000 right now, like give we that money for the usage of it. Is it that you are claiming $150,000 as in, if you do anything, you give me that money or I'm taking you to court?
No,
what is Ground Up's position that like on the $150,000? That's how.
Yes, on the $150,000.
Yes,
it is. If you read that email, it basically states that it covers the retroactive unauthorized exploitation.
Okay,
and then it covers the ongoing exploitation, because remember that
he has used it.
He's using it, and he will continue to use it.
Okay.
So if that's the case, and you are going to do that, then this is your bill for doing that.
Okay. So if he stops right now, if he decides, say, boss, what they beg, I no go do them again.
We are all in all that we are interested in. And I'm speaking as a lawyer on behalf of Glenn, is to have these matters settled, because you realize the number of emails that you've read where Ground Up is saying, you are doing this, you've done this, it's wrong, it's illegal, stop it. Otherwise we'll take you on. And yet nothing has happened.
Okay. So if you get Kwesi around the table to have the discussion, because he's failed to attend meetings with you.
Yes, failed to attend meetings with us, failed to attend meetings where we asked him to come along with lawyers, failed to attend meetings where we even asked his dad to be there. I mean, all sorts. And all this is basically because of the relation. Because mind you, you need to understand that for a long period, Kwesi was living in Glenn's house.
Okay.
So that's basically a certain level of familial relationships.
Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Okay. Well, there's that part where he says, Glenn, who is living off my money and hard work, he states that Glenn is living off his money.
I mean, like I'm saying, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
If you understand economics, if you understand the game, you would know that it takes something for artists to come about.
Yes.
There's an investment that needs to go into it. Kwesi's come up was on social media.
Yes.
You know, way before the videos started coming on Twitter and things like that. Some of us were seeing the studio time. We know the amount of work that went in. How many years prior? 2 years prior, 3 years prior, before, you know, it became what it was. Okay. You were using facilities. You were using studio. You were using electricity. You were using water. You had accommodation. You were flying around the world. There was flights. There was accommodation, hotels. You know, transportation, ground, abroad, here. You know, there was clothing. And remember the background that he was coming from. But if you look at some of the clothing that he was wearing, and you see some of the people associated with this, I mean, in all of this, you hardly see Glenn. Nobody really heard of Glenn when he was signing.
Yes.
Why is it that it's now in the bad time that
you're hearing
of Glenn? Nobody really even saw a picture of Glenn at that period, at the high time of, you know, Kwesi's career. You get it? But he was looking fly. He was wearing, you know, rocking designer stuff.
Nice stuff.
Yeah, all those things come at a cost. And all those things in the entertainment industry is a place where you need to look at certain parts to be taken seriously.
Yes.
And maybe at the time when you are starting out, you don't have the resources to look that part. All that needs support.
Yeah.
So when somebody has bled, put in these resources, you don't rubbish it that way. You don't talk about it like somebody's living off your success. Where did you record that? Where were you living? What resources were put around you for you to be able to do that? There must be some level of, and in the past that was there, you know, that level of, you know, appreciation. But sometimes, I mean, I've been in this industry long enough to understand that it's an industry thing. Artists, labels, even when artists themselves are under other artists, you hear the complaints from the artists who are subordinates. It's an industry thing, and I don't know what it is. But what I can tell you as a lawyer is, never underestimate the power of fame and the power of money.
Okay.
Because we see siblings battle it out in court. We see husband and wife battle it out in court. We see mother and child battle it out in court. We see close friends, husband and wife, and it's all because of property, or it's because of, it just has a way of being an explosive cocktail in the mix of something that is working very well. And all of a sudden,
chip in that and then everything
things go haywire. You understand? So to that extent, I do understand it. But you can't say that somebody is living off your hard work. He was not putting in hard work. All these contracts and things, all this, you know, you need to leverage relationships. You need to be up and running. There's so much you need to do. It's just really an unfair thing to say.
He goes on to say in the last part of the presser, saying that he is working constantly around the clock for me to never put out music again. Is that true on the side of your client?
From where I sit, I have no knowledge of that. I've not seen, unless it is something in relation to material that Ground Up is claiming they own, for instance, in relation to this, and this is probably one of those instances. I mean,
so you've never laid claims on any of the projects that he's done independently?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not
you've never tried to reach out to any distro to tell them to pull down any of the tapes that he did after exiting Ground Up?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Not that I'm aware of. So, as I explained to you, Kwesi walked away from Ground Up while he was still under contract.
Okay.
Because remember that the 2017 contract was for 4 years. So it expired in 2021.
Yes.
It had a renewal for 2 years, which should have taken 2023.
Yeah.
After Son of Jacob was released, Kwesi walked away. Kwesi didn't do promo for the album properly with Ground Up. I don't even think Kwesi shot any videos.
There are animations of Celebrate with Tenny.
Yes.
And I don't,
Yes.
Come to think of it, there's no music video.
And all that was issues of contention because Glenn was like, come and let's shoot videos. Come and let's work the product. What are you doing? But I don't know. I think when I think about it, at the time Son of Jacob came out, it was received harshly. These people who are on X talking today, they forget. They're like the people who were shouting, crucify, crucify him, crucify him. When Son of Jacob came out, it was received very harshly.
Okay.
On social media, especially X.
Okay.
And I think that sort of dampened spirits.
Oh. But that's a beautiful project.
And especially in hindsight. Yes, especially in hindsight.
Project.
But if you ask me, I remember because at the time, if you remember at the time, that's when also Flea was very active on social media.
Yes.
That also led to bashing for Flea around that period. If you would recall, that 2022 time. And since then, he's sort of taken a backseat from X.
Yes.
So that way it was received harshly. It made it look like, Ground Up Chalet is wasting your time. Ground Up Chalet is not really doing their best to promote the talents. Ground Up Chalet is flopping Kwesi Arthur. And, sometimes when these voices fester,
it might get to you.
That's my personal opinion from a bystander who's also an insider, but, looking at things from a distance. That's what I think would probably be one of the main issues that led to all of, because post-release, not a lot of work was put into pushing the product. And albums, promotion.
No, but did you try to get Kwesi to promote the Son of Jacob project?
Yes, that then informs me that he did. He tried to reach out to him several times. Kwesi refused. And then subsequently...
Did he officially send an email to the effect that he's no longer interested in working with Ground Up?
Shortly after that, some foreign lawyers sent us an email where, because they recognized that Kwesi was still under contract, they sent us an email with a termination agreement.
Okay.
For us to terminate
Kwesi. The agreement between
between Kwesi and Ground Up.
Okay. And that was before the tenure ended.
That was before the tenure ended.
Wow. So he walked away from the contract. And you guys did you guys settle it with the foreign lawyers? Did you guys settle it?
No. I think we responded once and we never heard back from them again.
Okay. And what was your position in that?
I mean, the terms, it was about settling the terms.
Okay.
Because
he wanted to settle and leave.
He wanted, because it was a termination agreement.
Yes.
But I'm saying that it was about settling the terms of the termination because there are proposals regarding distribution of rights and things like that in order to terminate the agreement were not, what do you call it?
Okay.
They were not, in Glenn's view, commercial. And also remember, this is at a time when Kwesi's account was still in the red because you have just come out with Son of Jacob, the agreement, you have not even done promo and stuff for it, and then you just want to walk away and you want to dictate certain terms which are not beneficial to the investor. So I think we went back to them to review those terms, and that's where it ended. And since then, he's been doing his own thing.
Folks, Charlie, Right now, I'll use Charlie because we ground up Charlie. My big brother Jonathan Amabla is here. We're having a conversation about Glenn, who is the CEO, if I put it that way, of Ground Up Charlie, and Kwesi is trending on all social media platforms. He used to be on X. That was yesterday, but I got onto TikTok, and if he reach TikTok, really? If he gets to the headquarters, Assembly Drew headquarters, it's a different conversation altogether. But I'm sure we've gone through the presser issued by Kwesi, and I'm sure by now you also understand some of the things in there and how true and untrue some of these things are. Are there other things that you would like to address?
I mean, the statements in there, like I've said, I've been at pains to show you with proof from email correspondence and others to show you how untrue and how baseless they are, that Kwesi has never received a dime or that there has been any sort of threat or bullying which would in any way endanger Kwesi's life or, you know, all the other things that have been said which have painted Glenn in a very terrible light. What I would say is that these are very wide-reaching. They are impacting seriously on you know, the ability of the business or the viability of the business. And further than that, Glenn is receiving all sorts of threats. You know, people are tweeting at him, people are even WhatsApping him, messaging him, hands will touch you, we will hurt you, we will see if we see you, understand? So these are far-reaching. And at this point, it seems like all the attempts to solve the matter amicably have to be parked, and the legal position must take its course to settle and vindicate all the rights that are being affected here. So I'm giving you that assurance today that in short time, you will see the legal processes go out there. And what I would really wish is that I would like to admonish people to be measured in how they repeat these things, in how they republish these statements, because like I'm saying, every repetition is a publication of the defamatory material, which makes you liable.
Okay. So the people that keep sharing it.
Yes, and the people who keep sharing it and, you know, even aggravating the situation more.
Adding their voices to it and all that.
Yes.
That is republication.
Yes.
Of defamatory statements.
Yes.
Okay.
Some are even extending it. They are adding their own fire and, you know, making it even worse. And at the end of the day, that is giving it more publicity and it's extending the damage and the potential liability for the persons involved. So I would say that take your time. The materials we are putting out there because we want people to know what the true situation is in relation to this. There's nothing about slavery. You know, there's no hold over him, no claim to own him or own his image. You know, there's nothing of the sort is happening. And the terms, I'm telling you, are among the most beneficial terms you will find in the industry. The relationship, it used to be that way. And so people should really be measured into how they dissect the matters. For me, I think and they should be concerned about being fair and hearing other sides and taking all information into consideration.
Lawyer, thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
And for our viewers in the comment section, Charlie, we word you. And when you come there, keep it real, because the street is always watching.
You don't know these streets like we do.
We